So today Brian Campbell made it official and he retired. And Brian Campbell's one of those guys that when he retires, people know who he is at the time, and then 5 years from now, people will still kind of remember 10 years from now. Oh, I remember who he was. He wasn't bad. Campbell's return to the Blackhawks this past season on a sweetheart deal, for the Hawks anyways, was one of the best signings of the summer, even though it didn't turn out the way the Hawks wanted or necessarily the way that Campbell wanted. Certainly being swept in the first round by Nashville wasn't part of the plan. But Campbell finished his career where he started, and now he moves into a job with them beyond being a player. So he retires. He gets a job in the front office with a role in marketing, community, and youth hockey initiatives. It's a total win. And this is one of those times where I look at the Chicago organization, whether I love or hate Chicago and what they do, they definitely take care of their own. Let me get that out of there. They definitely take care of their own, and they do a very good job with their marketing and with taking care of players. And Campbell's just the latest. Campbell's just the latest in a long line. So there really isn't another angle to this. Really, he retires with 1,082 games played, 82 goals, 504 points. And when he came into the league, I remember Buffalo was kind of high on him, but he signed the big deal after being traded to San Jose at the deadline. He was a rental for San Jose, and he signed the big deal with Chicago. And Chicago was viewed as being crazy for signing this big deal for Brian Campbell. Didn't turn out to be so crazy. Campbell played very, very well for Chicago and was a key player in what became a Stanley Cup championship franchise. He then went to Florida. And other players, when they go to Florida, and the fact that the Panthers weren't as competitive as a veteran might hope they'd be, he might have pouted, but he didn't. He got 53 points that first year in Florida. And then in the lockout shortened season, he got another 27, 48 games, and 8 of those points were goals. His point totals dip after that, 37, 27, 31, and then this past season in Chicago, he got 17, 5 goals. Campbell could have held on. He probably could have found a tryout. He probably could have found a team that was willing to give him a shot for, $1 million. Maybe 800,000 plus some incentives if he got certain point totals or certain goal totals. Campbell decided to retire and accept a front office position with the Hawks. I always respect a guy who's willing to do that, who looks and says, well, I'm probably going to make around the same amount of money. Yeah, my playing career's done. I'm going to go ahead and accept a job with them. So it's been good for him. It's been good for the Hawks. And it again shows how Chicago is a really good organization. And this is part of the reason why I don't take them out of the conversation in terms of being a contender. And this comes back to Pittsburgh, too. There's a certain feel with a winning organization. Players want to be around it. Coaches want to be around it. Your best scouts, everybody wants to be around that winning organization. And while, as a fan who cheers for underdogs, or a Canuck fan who's watched Chicago take them out in the playoffs more than once, I would love to just hate on these guys and just, talk smack about everything they do. I can't. Very simply, they have been a solid team for a very long time. And I'm impressed by almost every move they make. Like, I was doing a video earlier today where I was trying to grade all the off seasons, and I gave up about a third of the way through because it's so subjective. And it's incendiary. And then I look at ones I'm giving a lower grade to, and I'm like, I can't. How do I do that? Is it their fault that they were successful? And the Hawks were one that I was giving kind of a middling grade to, and I thought, well, part of the reason they're in the position they're in is because they've been successful and they've had to pay for it. It's going to be more expensive to pay for the number 4 defenseman on the first place or Stanley Cup winning team than it is to pay for that same player on the number 30 ranked team in the NHL. they may have the same stats. They may be very similar players, but success gives you money. And in the NHL, it's the same as any other sport that way. Players get paid for their success, for the team's success. So we'll see how this goes for Chicago. I like it. I think it's a really good move. You guys can let me know what you think in the comment section below. I can't see anybody thinking this isn't a great move for him. Again, it's a career that may be deemed as unremarkable later on, but he was a very good defenseman. Florida missed him this past season when he was gone. Chicago missed him when he went to Florida. He was underrated and overpaid. If that's a thing, to have a guy who's underrated and overpaid, he's that. But in the last year of his career, he was not overpaid and he was not overrated, and he did a solid job as a veteran player. So again, you guys let me know what you think. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. Those two buttons are your friends. And I'll be talking to you again real soon. My first hockey news came in today. So my subscription is now live. And there's some interesting things in there on the new guys. They get into the winners and losers on July 1st, free agent day. And of course, my opinion on free agent day is known. And that the NHL .com and now the hockey news are like, oh, these teams lost. Not really. But that's me. Let me know what you guys think about Brian Campbell and the career he had. And thank you very much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.